Welcome once again to this week's edition of An Irritable Person's Weekly Mailbag, during which I will read to you everything you could have read for yourself Monday through Friday on my Substack, Ask an Irritable Person. Monday. Dear Irritable Person, I am always on the lookout for disaster. It's just how I was raised. We had a lot of disasters when I was growing up, financial, emotional, interpersonal, and it trained me to remain on yellow alert every moment since. Now that I'm older, though, most of my family, even down to second cousins, have either passed away or been safely institutionalized. The amount of chaos in my life has gone way down, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I kind of miss the crazy bastards. If I ever want to reminisce with one of my siblings about the day Dad tried to blow up the house because Mom forgot to buy his favorite cereal at the supermarket, I have to fill out a visitor request form in triplicate and wait 3 weeks for it to be processed. Nowadays, I've stopped jumping at shadows because I've realized that they really are just shadows. There's nothing for me to be afraid of. But I still can't come off of yellow alert. I'm anxious even though I have nothing to be anxious about. Can you help me? Sincerely, Seeking Serenity. Dear Seeking, absolutely I can help. I'll have you out of your little rut in no time. First of all, it sounds like you're not consuming nearly enough news content. I don't know about the perfect racial and socioeconomic harmony you and your neighbors in Shangri-La have attained, but the rest of us are at each other's throats. Maybe you should move somewhere that's more like the rest of America. Your home environment sounds entirely too comfortable. You could always sell it at a loss. Or you could take a page from dear old Dad's book and try to blow it up. Joking. Or am I? I bet you have a steady job at a company where all the workers feel like family and everybody knows your name. That's unnatural. Quit. You'll never get back to the exciting thrill-a-minute life you had as a kid unless you shake things up a little. Paging chaos. Or have I misunderstood the question? Sincerely, Irritable Person. Tuesday. Dear Irritable Person, I see so much doom and hatred and just plain awfulness on the news. People seem to be attacking each other all the time. Fortunately, I don't see that in my life. Most people I see are pleasant, friendly, or even warm and kind. We are, each of us, trying our best. Oh, every now and then someone comes in my store in a crabby mood, but I find that if I keep a genuine smile on my face, I can get them to smile a little before they walk out the door. Or at least I can sense that their mood has lifted a bit. And when that happens, I feel like I've done some good in the world today. The only thing that gives me pause is when the closest they can get to a little smile is when the corner of their mouth twitches a little bit. When that happens, especially if they're older, I worry that they might be having a stroke. So I keep an eye on them until they get back to their car and drive off. Anyway, the real trick is keeping that smile genuine even when they're snapping at you. Think happy thoughts. Think of cookies after church. Think of your grandchildren. Or a sunrise if you're fresh out of grandchildren who put a smile on your face. Life is beautiful. What most of us have to do is just get out of its way. I think kindness is due for a comeback. What do you say? Sincerely, Hope that helps. Dear Hope, from where I'm sitting, at a safe distance from all of you lunatics, stupidity still rules the land. You obviously need to watch more news. There are all sorts of hateful behaviors exhibited on there, and that's just by the anchors. The actual news is even worse. But hey, enjoy life inside your little pink bubble, Miss Mary Sunshine. Sincerely, Irritable Person. Wednesday. Dear Irritable Person, I've been out of the office for a week with a bad case of pneumonia. My work is piling up, I'm unavailable to my friends, and my apartment looks like a freshman's dorm room. Getting sick sucks. That's why I've had 0 sick days since 2018, until this week. I don't understand how I've allowed this to happen to me. I am so careful. I keep a hand sanitizer clipped to my belt at all times, and I use it frequently, as in 1 8-ounce bottle a day frequently. If I even think about touching something or someone, I spritz before, so I don't infect them, and after, so they don't infect me. People look at me strangely, but hey, who's the guy who never uses his sick days? Me, that's who. I practice nasal lavage religiously twice a day. Same with gargling warm salt water, twice a day. And that's when I'm healthy. Lately, I've been doing it hourly, I am so irritated with myself. How did I let this happen to me? I never want to experience this hell again, but what more can I possibly do to prevent it? Sincerely, sick and tired of being. Dear Sick and Tired, are you blaming yourself for catching pneumonia? What did you do to give yourself pneumonia? Stick your head in the pneumonia jar? Did you forget to get your shots? I doubt it, since you've elevated flooding your nasal passages with warm water to the level of a religious practice. You caught pneumonia from an infected person or surface. You could blame that elevator button you pushed just before you scratched your nose. You could blame one of your cubicle mates. But you can't give yourself pneumonia, and you can't possibly know how you got it. Dr. House checked out a long time ago. Plus, he was fictional. Rather than blame myself, what I always do when something goes wrong for me is I blame Fred. Who's Fred? I don't know. That's the point. He's the fall guy. Someone has to be blamed for my misfortunes, and I don't want it to be me, so, unless I can pin the blame on someone specific, I blame Fred. He's the guy who always fucks things up for me. Fred. Fred of 1,000 fuck faces. Fred gave you pneumonia. Now, don't get Fred confused with Sam. Sam is the guy who lives in my head full-time at no charge. He lives to torment me. If I make a decision, no matter how minor, Sam questions it, at best, and at worst tells me how wrong I am, at tremendous volume. Remember, it's all in your head. If you enter into the spirit of the thing, you should feel much better about yourself. If you get really good at this, someday you'll be able to turn Sam against Fred, and all your problems will be solved. Sincerely, Irritable Person. Thursday. Dear Irritable Person, I'm a long-time reader, and I don't know why. I've never thought very highly about the advice you've been giving. The other day I was researching thermometers online, and I decided, why don't I ask the computer if I should buy a thermometer? Its reply went on for many, many paragraphs, but once I weeded through all the verbiage and overlooked several alarmingly positive references to Hitler, I found some real gems of advice. I asked the computer for more advice and got similarly helpful results. Sure, its replies were overwritten, but then again, so are yours, and AI's advice actually helps, which I doubt yours ever has. Out of curiosity, I fed AI the letter from your blog yesterday from the germaphobe who blamed himself for catching pneumonia. AI's reply was deeply sympathetic and touching. I teared up at, you didn't get pneumonia because you failed. You got it because you're human. You, on the other hand, recommended that the germaphobe develop multiple personality disorder as a way of shifting blame off himself. I dare you to publish what I'm about to write. No one should ever ask you for your worthless advice. I certainly won't. Regrettably, I'm sure some people will continue to write to you. But from now on, sir, rest assured that every time I read your blog in future, it will be for entertainment value only. Sincerely, and so there, long-time dissatisfied customer. Dear long-time, well gosh, thanks for the tough love. You really thought AI's sappy reply was good advice? You got pneumonia because you're human? You weak-willed sap. But thanks for writing in. To what address do you wish me to mail your participation trophy, loser? Oh my gosh, what will I do if all the weirdos stop asking me for advice? I might have to write letters to myself and pretend they're from other people and then answer them. Of course, for all you know, that's what I've been doing all along. I hope you and your new electronic buddy are happy together, but I suspect it won't last. You know why? Because even I, a hermit who lives alone in the woods, knows that humans have a need to connect with other humans. Now, you might be surprised to hear me acknowledge that, seeing as how I'm a hermit who lives alone in the woods. Well, I may be mildly agoraphobic and extremely anthropophobic. In fact, strike the maybe. I am mildly agoraphobic and extremely anthropophobic. But the fact that I continue to plug away at this blog shows my need to connect with others, even in this sadly remote way. And during those times when the column isn't enough, I can just lie on my bed, close my eyes, and make shit up. Who's that knocking on my door? Anyone I can imagine. And they won't eat my food because they're not real. Don't badmouth disassociation until you've tried it for a few decades, wise ass. Sincerely, Irritable Person. Friday. Dear Irritable Person, I am a wealthy man. I can do anything I want. And I just spent an hour and a half reading posts about eccentric millionaires on Quora. Why did I do that? Sincerely, Perturbed. Dear Perturbed, fortunately, I'm not a psychiatrist. Therefore, as I am unbound by the rigid shackles of professional ethics, I will quite happily pull a diagnosis out of my ass that is certain to be as shocking yet true as anything you could read on Quora. First of all, note the name of the website. It begins with the letter Q. There can be no mistaking the significance of this. Clearly, you are a latent homosexual, unless you're a practicing homosexual, in which case you're a latent heterosexual. Either way, it's a sex thing, and you're confused. Secondly, the relentless diet of posts about eccentric millionaires that the algorithm has been feeding you indicates it has sussed out your desire to give all your money to a hermit who lives in the woods, as I do. The algorithm is never wrong, except when it feeds me a steady diet of posts about Betty Davis and Barbara Stanwyck, as I have absolutely no interest in the letter Q. I'm sure you're now regretting asking me my opinion. Anticipating your reaction, I turned it into a syndrome. Classic therapeutic resistance. As with all syndromes, it's not great. You must resist the resistance. I can assure you that I know everything there is to know about psychiatry. My favorite movie is the Alfred Hitchcock classic Spellbound, 1945, starring Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman. I have seen it over 100 times due to a regrettable DVD malfunction in 1998. My second favorite movie is the Alfred Hitchcock classic Lifeboat, 1944. So not only can I diagnose you like a pro, I can save you from drowning if your ship is ever sunk by a German U-boat. And my third favorite movie is the Alfred Hitchcock classic Strangers on a Train, 1951. So you should probably avoid striking up a conversation with me on the Acela Express. Now give me your money. Sincerely, Irritable Person. And that's it for this week's mailbag. Look for Irritable Person's weekly catch-up audio mailbag every Sunday. And follow the daily column, Ask an Irritable Person, every Monday through Friday on Substack. Or subscribe. It's free and virtually certain to remain so for the foreseeable future.